Who is Robert Greenleaf? We will answer that question in this video and look at his role in inspiring a movement that unapologetically put together servant and leader. Robert Greenleaf has become a significant influencer in the area of leadership and management theory. Top leaders such as Warren Bennis, Stephen Covey, Peter Drucker have praised and drawn from the leadership principles advocated by Robert Greenleaf. Greenleaf was inspired to pursue a career in business when his sociology professor, Oscar Helming, challenged his class to be concerned and do something about the growing problem of large institutions such as churches and businesses not serving the greater good of the communities that they are a part of. Now, this was in the 1920s. Upon graduation, Greenleaf pursued a career in the largest company of the day, AT&T, starting with an entry-level position as a telephone pole digger. Greenleaf quickly was identified by his supervisor as someone who would benefit from management training. Within a couple of years, Greenleaf was the director of training at AT&T. Throughout his long tenure at AT&T, Greenleaf held numerous directing positions, with his last role as director of management research when he retired in 1964. In his retirement years, Greenleaf would go on to provide leadership consultation in numerous sectors, including higher education. It was during this time that the idea of servant as leader would begin to formulate. Robert Greenleaf believed that there was a leadership crisis within the institutions of his day. He saw how traditional hierarchical organizations and leadership structures created a sizable gap between leader and follower. There was lack of trust amongst leaders and followers. Those with positions of power were not positively influencing the next generation of leaders. Greenleaf believed that there needed to be the same attention given to the kind of leader, the kind of person emerging from these educational settings, as was given to the specific skills and knowledge for each profession and practice. There was an urgent need to produce servant leaders. When considering the institutions of his day, Greenleaf firmly believed that no real significant change would occur unless those from within these influencing structures wanted to and were able to lead for the betterment of the students, the organization, and the community in which they belonged. It would take both theory and practice. This inspired him to write several essays seeking to provide a framework for leadership development. One of these essays was The Servant as Leader, where Greenleaf dared to couple the idea of servant and leader as an essential prerequisite to creating a better society. Greenleaf credits Hermann Hesse's fictional work Journey to the East as the inspiration for the idea of how a person as servant first will make the greatest and longest lasting impact as a leader, as opposed to the individual who wants to be leader first and foremost. Hesse's story answered Greenleaf's question, from where does legitimate power come? The servant Leo is a key character in the story who assists and sustains the cohort on their long journey. When Leo turns up missing, the group of travelers soon forsake their quest and disband. Leo was the essential ingredient to the group's success. It is later discovered that Leo, who was first the servant, is now the leader of the very group that initially was responsible for supporting the journey to the East. Leo was servant first. His influence, his legitimacy to lead others, was established from his servant nature. Leadership was bestowed on him by the followers. The leadership principles and the characteristics that Greenleaf goes on to explain in his essay and later book, Servant Leadership, spring from this foundational idea that true leadership, true legitimacy of power and influence, comes from those who are servant first. If you want to learn more about servant leadership, I invite you to watch the video, What is Servant Leadership?, by clicking on the end card on the screen. To see more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.